Taste. Here it is. A very simple recipe. I love pancakes in the morning because they're so quick and easy to make. Especially when you have guests come to your place for breakfast, the fastest thing to make is pancakes. Just got to get the batter right. So what I like to do is I also like to add little herbs to my pancake. You can add mint, cilantro, or a little bit of basil to get that nice, refreshing taste in every bite. One very interesting recipe which I created was that you can cut your apples, add a little bit of tandoori spice mix, a very unusual ingredient for a morning breakfast, squeeze off a lemon, and then you can bake the apples. Chop them into small pieces, toss it into a little bit of lemon juice, onions, tomatoes, and a little bit of cilantro. That's it. So you have your beautiful tandoori inspired apple salsa. And one thing which I always like to do is for breakfast, I like to create my own innovative spreads. Baked yogurt is something which works beautifully. Yogurt is very healthy. Add a little bit of condensed milk to it. You can bake it in advance and that becomes a beautiful spread. So you're combining the yogurt, tandoori apples, unusual, with a little bit of pancake. You can layer it up and then cut it just like a cake. So you can start that morning beautifully with a lot of flavors. Try it for yourself or share how you wake up your family with an innovative breakfast. Let's make every morning a new adventure with Food Ventures by Axis Bank Dining Delights. Well, let me first explain tian to you. Tian is an amazing casserole which is layered vegetables and they get cooked in their own moisture. That is the best part of it. And traditionally it's topped with any kind of cheese. You can use Gruyere cheese, you can use Parmesan cheese. But traditionally sometimes I've seen that in south of France they also use a lot of goat cheese for this recipe. So they layer the vegetables, they top it with cheese and they bake it very low heat so that the vegetables get the whole nutrition value just 100% with all those flavors merging in together. Now to use the spices, you can be as creative as you want to be. There is no rules. That's what a great dish is made out of, just breaking the rules. But to serve it with passion fruit sauce is also amazing because passion fruit has this nice tanginess, citrus flavor to it. And then you can add a little bit of green chilies to it so to add a balance of contrast. And so my Pakka Punjabi family had to admit that veg doesn't mean boring. Tell me what your veg food adventures have you created. Share them with me at Food Ventures by Axis Bank Dining Delights. Let this journey continue. I love to do the unobvious when I'm cooking pasta, adding some kind of vegetable puree to it. In this recipe, I add beet puree to my spaghetti. Amazing, luscious, deep pink color and of course lots of nutrition. I like to toss this al dente pasta with roasted apple sauce. Now it's extremely easy. There's a little bit of olive oil to apples, roasted with lots of garlic and chilies, and then you puree that, cook it with a little bit of shallots, amazing sauce, just a pinch of little bit of cream. That's all you need. Toss the pasta. Obviously, a lot of people would think that why would you not sprinkle just Parmesan cheese to it? I love to change the form of Parmesan Reggiano cheese because I think it's amazing texture. And I love nuttiness in it. So I make these little chips out of Parmesan Reggiano with a little bit of chili and garlic. So simple and easy to make. Now the dish is totally complete. A complete mixture of textures, flavors, nutrition, everything. Everything a food adventurer would expect. I've been sharing food adventures with you. Are you sharing yours? The sticky rice is actually inspired by Japanese cuisine and I love it. But here what we do is that we make the sticky rice with a little bit of tea. Yes, you can use that. You can brew a little bit of green tea, add it to the rice and then slowly cook it. That is amazing. Pinch of salt and that's all you need. So you have that earthiness from the tea while the stickiness of the rice also adds a wonderful texture. And what we do with kori roti is generally made out of rice flour. It's extremely crispy. You make a nice stew of coconut milk. Just dip the kori roti in it, take it out and then you stuff it with little bit of this green mango sticky rice and ghee roasted mushrooms. I love to slow cook the mushrooms with little bit of ghee, pinch of cayenne pepper, cumin, and lots of shallots. I think there's a sweetness, earthiness all combined together. So this is an amazing recipe because you have that nice coconut flavor in which the kori roti was steeped in. At the same time, you also have this mushrooms and the little bite, and then you have those green mango sticky rice. So it's all the game of different textures come together to be inspired by the coastal cuisine of India. I hope this is just the start of your coastal food adventure. And remember, all the great explorers and discoverers had to leave their coast to discover new ones. So I want you to share all those new discoveries about the coastal cuisines with us. Tell me all about them at Food Ventures by Axis Bank Dining Delights. Our journeys continue from coast to coast. Today. If you ever visit West Bengal, get ready to fall in love with the cuisine. I think it's really an adventure. Especially their steaming, the way they do cooking, their yogurts, their sweets, everything is phenomenal. I absolutely love visiting Kolkata again and again. One of the dish which is so beautiful there is the way they steam the fish. Extremely healthy, extremely delicious and very strong in flavors and very easy to make. But one thing what I love to do is that I love to do charcoal smoking of the fish before I actually steam it. And I do not like to use a traditional banana leaf to steam it. I love to use fig leaves because of their beautiful subtle flavor. It's truly amazing. And what is interesting about smoking a fish is that you can use a piece of charcoal and pour a little bit of mustard oil to it, cover it with a cloche, and here you have that wonderful seeped in clouds of mustard smoke. It's truly amazing. And generally it is served with Bengali curries, but I like to do this sauce which I learned from Nepal, which is amazing because it is roasted tomatoes and garlic, which is just pureed with salt and green chilies. That's it. It's that simple. A great combination, enjoyed with a nice flat bread or with amazing West Bengal specialty rice. That's my coastal delight. What's yours? Take your pick from India's rich coastline. Until then, keep sharing. Tandoori chicken is one of the most famous Indian dishes around the world, which comes from north of India. I think it's fantastic when I had to give it a new form and new look and flavor. While when you go to Goa, kokum is one of the most essential ingredients in the kitchen. And I thought, it really makes sense that the Goans don't use tandoor, and here we don't use kokum in the north. So let's combine it together. And when I had to stuff it with something, so even in Goa they have this amazing prawn pulao. It looks like the fat rice which is cooked with prawns. So I said, okay, instead of prawns, we'll use apricots to stuff this chicken. To make the tandoori chicken with kokum crust stuffed with apricot biryani, you need a nice organic chicken. You got to season it with salt and lemon juice and let it sit at room temperature. To make the marination, which is going to be like a very thick, dark paste, you've got to have a lot of kokum, red chilies, peppercorns, cumin and coriander seeds. Cook it with a little bit of water and then make a fine smooth paste. And then you marinate the chicken with this paste and let it rest for 15 to 20 minutes at room temperature, or you can leave it in the refrigerator perfectly covered overnight. And now to cook it, what I like to do is that you can make a nice perfect basmati rice biryani with apricots. You can stuff it inside the chicken and you can use a kitchen twine to perfectly secure it. Cook it in the tandoor, and if you don't have that option, you can cover it with aluminium foil and cook it in an oven. And when you think that it's almost done, remove the aluminium foil and let it cook until it has a nice beautiful kokum crust on the top. This is just the start of my 2 states adventure. Why don't you pitch in? Tell me your ideas and experiences of bringing 2 states together in a dish. I love our Indian tradition of welcoming guests as soon as they enter our homes with a glass of something to drink. Whether it's water, chai or something cold. To me, it means thank you for coming, and I'm going to treat you like a royalty for the first moment on. In my home in Punjab, guests were often welcomed with a cool glass of lassi. My grandmother, who was also my inspiration when it came to cooking, took this tradition to a whole new level. She would come up with different flavors of lassi and add new things to them. So here's my take on the traditional lassi with a twist. So, this is a very, very interesting lassi which was inspired by Rajasthani culture, in which they smoke the lassi with charcoal or wood. It adds a beautiful smoky depth to the yogurt drink. And what I like to do is, after I smoke it, I like to blend it with candied rose petals. We also call it gulkand. It's a fantastic ingredient, but somehow it's underused in cooking. And then what I like to do is, I like to top it with caramelized pistachios because of the sweetness and that caramelized burnt flavor and the crunchiness of pistachios. So you're getting a smoky flavor with nice subtle flavors of candied rose petals we call gulkand and the crunch of the pistachios. So for me, it's an uncommon ingredients all coming together to make a great story for the palate. So go ahead and experiment with traditional beverages and share your ideas of unique ones with me on Food Ventures by Axis Bank Dining Delights. I think of excitement, happiness, bold, sometimes risky, exploring new things that we do not so often. And the picture that came to my mind is the first day I decided to fly. I was born with this medical condition called club feet, in which your feet are not perfectly aligned to your body. And everyone told my mother that your son would not be able to walk and run like all the other kids. But she was determined. She didn't want her son to walk and run, she wanted him to fly. I spent all my childhood wearing those heavy wooden shoes, which was good and not so good too. Not so good because every time I would walk into the classroom, they sounded like thunderstorms. And all the kids wouldn't stop laughing. And good because I was the only one who could stomp the crackers with my shoes on Diwali. But also a great thing which happened, because I could not participate in physical activities, I found my true freedom in the kitchen. It was March 29th, 1984, when my shoes and my braces finally came off. And my mom told me to fly. When I look back, I think it was my thirst for adventure that began right at that moment. Later in life, I actually flew a plane as well. I still do, symbolic. But then I also believe that anything that gets your blood racing is probably worth doing. For me, the greatest food venture is the possibilities of cooking. When you come to your kitchen and you have such an amazing produce of seafood, poultry, vegetables, fruits, and then your spices. At that moment, it makes you think the kind of infinite possibilities that exist as your greatest food venture. Understanding that you can actually stuff poultry with apricots and then you can sear them with puffed rice. I think that's something which gives me the greatest joy. The true freedom of food venture. So do you like the sound of that? Do let me know, because I want us to take this food venture journey together. And stay tuned to the Food Ventures with me and Axis Bank Dining Delights, because this is just the beginning.